Hello guys! If there is hell on earth, it is definitely Russia. And now it even looks like one, because in different parts of the Russian Federation there are huge fires. And if you have ever seen how oil refineries burn, you will never forget that. So, extremely effectively, Ukrainian armed forces turn Russia from metaphorical hell into real, literal one, while Putin is traveling to other totalitarian regimes, losing all connections with reality. Because, oh my god, making friends with the Northern Korean leader. Even those who were trying to find something sane, in the words of the so-called Russian leader, who is actually a dictator, perhaps lost all the arguments to support this. So let me tell you more about serious explosions and destructions on a number of Russian oil refineries in very different regions across Russia, and also the Putin's tour that imitates he can travel the world when he can actually travel only the isolated, crazy part of the world. My name is Anna and I vlog daily from Ukraine since the start of the brutal Russian invasion. So if you're new to the channel, you support Ukraine, please subscribe and help us fight against Russian propaganda and fake news. And my longtime friends, check your subscription status and hit notification button. Of course, I want to discuss Putin and his behavior during his visits to North Korea and to Vietnam, but let's start with a more important and more Ukrainian strategy, and that is to set all of the Russian economy on fire by destroying their oil refineries. And these days we have targeted a number of Russian regions, so our geography lessons continue, and I will tell you actually this was Krasnodarsky Krai, Rostov region, Kuban, Bryansk, Orlov, Belgorod, and maybe even more. What is also pathetic, Russian authorities try to hide this information, but first you can get all the videos and all the bad words. Russians use so many bad words, but now they have reasons to, especially when they observe these explosions. So first of all, there are tons of videos, but then there are satellite images, and still they did not invent how to fake satellite images. Maybe in future their friendship with North Korea will give some artificial satellite images, but at the moment it is really easy to check what is happening. And for example, right now we observe that one of big oil refineries and depots in Krasnodar region, Azov, in the city of Azov, which actually works with huge supplies of oil products, it has been burning for 3 days already. And honestly, this is an online broadcast from hell, if you look at it. Also tonight, a number of Ukrainian drones, by the way, sometimes these are not only drones, but also Ukrainian modified missiles Neptune. We respect the restrictions, we do not target deeper inside Russia with the missiles of our allies, but I hope sometime soon this ban will also disappear. But at the moment we use Ukrainian-produced Neptune missiles. Or drones. Drones are super effective, and for example tonight there were fires and explosions in Krasnodarsky Krai and in ADYGEA. And most importantly, these are expensive, complex oil refineries that is almost impossible for Russia to repair, because the majority of the details that they need are from the European Union or from the Northern America, and sanctions help us here a lot. So according to Reuters, which is not an optimistic Ukrainian like I am, so according to neutral Reuters, approximately 7 to 10 Russian oil refineries aren't working at the moment, which leads to the serious shortage of oil products. And of course, this is important because it prevents normal fueling of Russian military machines, that they consume a lot of oil products, and also it prevents Russia from selling it to the partners and leads to serious shortage in money that they have. Remember to join our community, the channel, subscribe if you're new. This is the easiest way to demonstrate your solidarity with Ukraine and help us spread more information about our fight and resilience, which is actually not a local conflict. And we can clearly see how authoritarian regimes unite, and it looks both dangerous and pathetic. Dangerous, why? Because these are crazy regimes that unfortunately have nuclear weapons, but pathetic because, come on, they look crazy, ridiculous, they don't have any connections to the realities, and simply look at the photos of Kim Jong-un and Putin. By the way, I did like analysis of Vlad Wexler on Putin's visit to North Korea. It is the second visit of Russian dictator to the Korean dictator, but a tremendous degradation is observed because during his first visit at the start of Putin's so-called Korea, or can I say reign, Putin was quite ironic and sarcastic, and he was observing this pictures of classical totalitarian life with perhaps some kind of understanding that it is too much. But right now he is very enthusiastic about how North Korea looks, and he even wrote an article saying how beautiful North Korea is and that it actually is very effective. North Korea is very effective in counter-fighting the United States and all that rotting West that luckily I also represent. But even if you look at the photos, how these bullies behave, you can literally see that Putin is Kim's puppy. And not even Xi's, China is still well off in comparison to North Korea, and we all know that North Korea is totally crazy. So I believe that this visit of Putin to North Korea begging for supplies is an illustration to those who still try to be normal, neutral, who still hope that there is something normal in Putin. This is a friend of Kim Jong-un. They have exchanged compliments and now they are united. And like, it was literally so weird to feel that someone can boast this kind of relationship. And now I'm proud to realize that my country is not only fighting with Russia, we're also fighting with North Korea. And I think this is cool. But this also reminds us that the Third World War has already started. Honestly, guys, even if you want to hide, not to think about it that way, it is very clear. And what Ukraine does, it actually backs up democratic world and gives more time for militarization, for new armament, for the necessary reforms, for enlarged budgets. And this is actually what happens among the NATO countries, and hopefully the new leader of NATO will continue and even speed up the process. But unfortunately, this is already happening, especially if you listen to what these dictators say. And never ignore it, never consider it a joke, because I did so before the start of Russia's full-scale invasion, because once again, it was totally irrational, it was totally absurd, but that's what these countries are. Have a look at Kim Jong-un, have a look at what kind of life people have in North Korea, and it still functions, and it is still treated as a country, as a power, and now Putin actually legitimizes and Kim legitimizes Putin. This is a mutually beneficial toxic relation. Unfortunately, there are countries who play with this image, like Vietnam. I don't know why on earth it decided to accept Putin, and hopefully this will be the last visit of the Russian ruler to this country. And by the way, let me know what do you think in comments below, because it's honestly interesting for me how all of these visits to Vietnam, to North Korea will influence Putin's extremely dependent relations on China. China may not like it. Plus sanctions, new sanctions that also influence China. Maybe there will be a moment when Chinese leader will decide to abandon Putin. And for Putin, this will be a problem, but no, China will not become our friend. As a Ukrainian, long ago, I have promised myself to be just and honest, and I say that all authoritarian regimes, even if they can help you somehow, or if they say something that your country needs, or they can give something, they are enemies, because they ignore, they disrespect values that are necessary for our life. For Ukraine, freedom is a feature without which we don't want to live. And that's why Putin will never understand where do we get our strength from. And that is actually why we will win. And together with you, because we are very grateful for the support that we feel, and also because this is our joint danger. This is not a local conflict. And believe me, Kim Jong-un and Putin, they already fight the Third World War. The fact that we don't name it that way, or we don't want to think about it this way, does not change anything. These crazy guys are already fighting. But I'm sure we have more strengths and more confidence and better weapons to win. Remember to join me on Instagram, X, Threads, and Discord. And also let me know if you're available for live on Sunday, not on Saturday, because on Saturday we are preparing something amazing. Actually, not me, but I'm invited to Jake Bro channel, and not only me, but some other great voices for Ukraine. So I will invite you there with more details in the coming days. But what about Sunday live then? And check our merch shop with lots of good items that work well as reminders and conversation starters about Ukraine. Thank you for buying me coffees, becoming my patrons and sponsors of the channel, and helping me film and write more. And now I will continue writing. Actually, I'm finishing the chapter on history, and finally I have approached the 20th century, which was really difficult and dark for Ukraine. But the 21st century, being difficult, will be the century of our final victory over the dying Russian Empire. Thank you once again for standing with Ukraine. Slava Ukraini!